In this video, we're going to talk about how we can use formulas to help us solve problems. We've been working so far with the formulas to find area and perimeter, but now we're going to take a look at using them to help us work backwards. So some points just to remember about using formulas in general, whether it's forward or backwards, is it's always helpful to draw and label a picture if you're not given one, just so you can visualize what it is the problem's asking you to find. Start off by writing your formula, fill in what you know, and then from there, the problem should kind of lay itself out. You either follow the order of operations or you reverse the order of operations to solve for a variable. And then don't forget to label your final answer with correct units. And the other part too is to also make sure, did you find what you were looking for? Because some of the problems can be two-step problems. So let's take a look. We'll keep this up here as our guide. So this goes along with the PowerPoint that we did today in class. These are the first few slides on that. So the first slide that we took a look at today was the perimeter rectangle is 18 centimeters. If the width is 2, what is the length? Now, you can do a lot of guessing and checking if you want to. My recommendation for these is also to, let's go ahead and just draw a picture. Doesn't have to be perfect. It says the perimeter is 18 and the width is 2. That means I don't know what this is, but I know that the perimeter equals 18. Right? So I've gone ahead and drawn a diagram, and I remember that perimeter means the distance around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I did for my picture and I'm going to turn it into an equation. I remember that perimeter means to add up all the sides. All right, we could use the formula for a rectangle here, but in all honesty, I think it's just easier to remember perimeter is just adding. So instead of P, I have that my perimeter is 18 and my sides are 2 plus x plus 2 plus x. That's the very basic. Maybe I could have taken it and added it ahead of time, but let's go ahead and combine our like terms. So now I have 18 equals 2x plus 4. So I have a two-step equation, and now all I have to do is work backwards. So again, I started with a formula. Wasn't very much of a formula. I filled in what I knew, and now I'm starting to work on my calculations. So railroad tracks minus 4. I get 14. Then divide both sides by 2. 7 equals x. Now, I need to make sure that, is that what I was being asked to find? Going back up into the question, it says, what is the length? And it says x equals 7. I used x to stand for the length, so I know that I'm done solving this problem. It's not like it was asking me what's the area, so I'd have to plug it in and go back and find it. So this is my answer, so I'm just going to answer my question in a complete sentence. Length is 7, and then my units were centimeters, so it's still centimeters. Right? So there's that example. Right? Then let's take a look at the next slide. Okay. In this one, we're talking about the circumference of a circle. So as soon as I read the problem, again, it might be helpful to draw a picture to help visualize it, and also start with the formula. So, all right, I'm talking about a circle. So I'm going to make my circle. And it's asking me for the radius, and I know that the radius comes from the center and goes to the edge. So I don't know what this is. I don't know what R is. But I know that the circumference, which is all the way around, okay, is 18.84. Okay, so that's just my way of labeling it and kind of getting that visual. So now what I know is that I had two formulas for circumference. I had circumference equals pi times d, and I had circumference equals 2 pi r. Now I can use either one. It really doesn't matter. You just have to be careful with, if you're solving for this one, you're going to end up solving for the D, for the diameter. And once you know the diameter, then yes, you can find the radius. So just be careful that you know what you're solving for. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use this one since I want to find the radius. I'm going to go ahead and use the one that has the R already set up for me. I'll do it both ways to show you still should get the same answer. So I'm going to fill in what I know. Instead of circumference, I know it's 18.84. And then I've got 2 times, and instead it says use 3.14 for pi. And then I don't know my radius. Okay. Put in railroad tracks, because I know I'm going to have to get that variable by itself. But not just yet. I need to do 2 times 3.14, which is 6 and 28/100. So now, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting I'm left-handed and you guys can't see when I'm writing. All right, so now I'm just going to divide both sides by 6 and 28/100. And get my handy-dandy calculator over here. Again, notice it's okay to be using the calculator. I have shown all the steps that I'm doing, so it's really not that big a deal. All right, and now we have that R is equal to 3. So, what is the radius? Answer in a complete sentence. The radius is 3, and my units were inches. All right. Just to show you how it would have worked with the other one, I could have done the same thing. Okay, 18 and 84/100 for the circumference, 3.14 for pi. I don't know the diameter. All right, divide both sides by pi. Okay, and 18 and 84/100 divided by 3.14 is 6. So if the diameter is 6, remember that the diameter equals 2 times the radius. So if the diameter equals 6, that means that the radius is 3 inches. And for our last example for working backwards is using the triangle one. Now the image has already been given here for us. The area of the triangle below is 30 square centimeters. What is the length of the base? All right, well, I'm going to make sure that I see that there's no other numbers, and I see that this is my 90-degree angle here, so this is my height. I'm just going to make myself that note, and I'm going to start off with my formula. Area equals 1/2 base times height, and then fill in what I know. So my area is 30. I have 1/2. I don't know what my base is, and instead of x, I'm going to actually use b for base so that I remember that's what I'm trying to look for. And then my height is 10. All right, so before I do any moving, remember multiplying, you can multiply in any order, so I can go ahead and take 1/2 of 10, which is 5, so I have 5b now. Okay, railroad tracks in, divide both sides by 5, and I get 6 is equal to my base. And don't forget my units. So the base is 6 centimeters. And I can plug this back into my equation and see if it works to do a little check. Area equals 1/2 base 6 times 10. Area equals 6 times 10 is 60. Area equals 30, and that's what it said I should have. So I know I did it right. Beautiful thing about being able to is if you know your formula and you have your formula sheet, plug it back in to check and see if your answer makes sense.